Today, what I want to do is have you take a deep breath because it's December and I know there's 50 things plus on your list of things to do, but I'm going to talk to you today about not just all the holiday hoopla, even though I've got my Santa cap on because I love to wear my Santa cap in December, but I'm telling you some of the things that you can focus on during the month of December that's going to make a huge positive impact on your new year. We want to finish and wrap up and tie with a pretty little bow everything that we've done in 2019 and then move on to 2020 in that positive, stepping out, not worrying about, oh my gosh, look at these things I didn't get done in 2019. Nope, it can get done in December, and I'm going to share a little secret with you. So it can get done first thing in the morning when you wake up. It can get done while the kids are napping. It can get done at lunchtime. It can get done at night while you're watching a Christmas movie. These things are going to take you, for the most part, even if you spend 5, 10, 15 minutes at a time getting these things done, you're going to be that much better off heading into 2020. So my name is Pamela Lewerenz, and I am known as the Brick Wall Coach. I'm a productivity coach and a workday strategist, and I am here to give you back time into your busy life so that you can do the things that you truly enjoy. I am going to share with you my checklist today. So this checklist is the very same checklist that I have been using for the past 3 years. So I've been in business for 5 years. The first couple of years, I just winged it. I didn't really know what December was supposed to be all about. I knew some pieces of it, but I didn't know all of it. That's what I did the first year. The second year, I kind of built on that, and I made myself a little list on a piece of paper that said, don't forget to do X, Y, and Z. And then the following year, I took that list, expanded on it, and created my own checklist, which I now share out with other business owners. So if you're a small business owner, you're a solopreneur, an entrepreneur, a freelancer, this is the checklist that you want to use during the month of December. It's going to be so, so helpful. I have put in here the link so you can grab the actual checklist that I am talking about today in case you want to do this on your own. This is such an important step. And when I work with my clients, they're looking at all the goals that they haven't accomplished. They're looking at all the things that they still have left to do. And they're trying to juggle that with making dinner, doing laundry, going shopping, wrapping presents, addressing Christmas cards, going to parties, you name it. December is like jam-packed with a ton of things to do. But there's certain things we have to do as business owners as well so that we are still wearing that business owner hat, and we know that when we move into the new year, we don't have to sweat it because we've already put our attention on these really important things that often get swept under the carpet, or they're on our list but they're not labeled as those must-dos or those urgents or those really important, so they keep getting pushed further and further. Then you find yourself in December kind of in panic mode because you haven't paid attention to them. But like I said, you can get these done pretty quickly, pretty easily, and I am going to, without further ado, start sharing this list. So the first thing you want to look at is your financial piece. And like I said, I'm going to go down this checklist. If you want to grab a copy of it so you can have it and work on it, by all means, the link is there so you can grab it. It's free. All right, so the financial piece. You want to set up a meeting with your tax accountant. Super important. If you don't have a tax accountant, I suggest you get one. You want to make sure that when you meet with your tax accountant that you are asking him or her, what do I need to know so that I'm all set to go into 2020 without any issues? Have I paid my taxes? Have I paid enough taxes? Should I be looking at putting things into a 401k? Tons of things that you need to find out what's right for your business from your accountant. You want to look at things like catching up on your bookkeeping, making sure that your expenses have receipts attached to them. If you were ever audited by the IRS, just telling them, hey, I've got my credit card statement over here and it's got all my purchases on it, not good enough. They want to see actual receipts. Do you have any unpaid invoices? Reach out to your clients who haven't paid you so you can get those things collected by the end of 2019. You don't want to go into 2020 with people owing you money. Review your profit and loss statement. So what the heck is a profit and loss statement? It's affectionately known as a P&L, and that's exactly what it sounds like it is. It's going to show you what your profits are, and it's going to show you the expenses that you had so that you can see, are you making money or are you at a loss? And then after you do all those steps, you want to begin to create your budget for the new year. So you get a handle on how much money you're projecting to come in, what all those expenses are, and do you have enough money left over to invest in something and to pay all your monthly, annual, whatever your subscriptions are, your dues, going to different conferences, working with a business coach, whatever it is that you want to do in 2020, you need to have a budgeted plan for that. All right, then we want to get into the cleaning up. So first we're going to look at the digital space. When you're looking at the digital space, you want to make sure that your files are all backed up. So many of us use a cloud backup, and that's great. I always recommend to have 2 different backups, one on-site and then one in the cloud. And go a step further and please confirm that your backups are working. So a really quick story, I was working with a business owner a couple of years ago and his computer system crashed and we said, oh, no problem. Well, it's going to be a little bit of a work, but we can take the backup and recreate what you had. Except the backup didn't contain all the information we needed, which meant he was in the financial field. We had to reach out to those clients and ask them for a lot of repetitive information. So make sure you're backing up your files and make sure the backups are working and contain what you need them to. Start going through your files, archive old ones. If there's clients that you're not working with anymore, those can be archived. You want to look at your actual computer itself. You want to make sure you are defragging and optimizing your computer drives. If you don't already do this on a monthly or a weekly basis, think about adding this to that routine for 2020. Saves you a ton of time. And then make sure that you are emptying out not only your downloads file, but also that recycle or trash bin. Then we're going to look at organizing your actual office. So you want to make sure all your surfaces are cleaned off. You're going to file or scan any of your paperwork. You're going to order office supplies if it's still in your budget for this year, because you want to make sure going into January you have everything you need. You don't want to be looking for a planner, a calendar, notebooks, pens. You want to have all that stuff. And make sure all your equipment is in working order. Again, if this isn't something that you do on a monthly or even a quarterly basis, usually, think about adding that onto your routine in 2020, because there's nothing worse than going to print something and your printer no longer works. All right, so that's all about the cleanup piece of it. Now, let's move over to some of the housekeeping and maintenance part. So your housekeeping and maintenance, that's going to be things like checking your links, make sure they're still working, check over your website, look at your footer and your copyright information. That's going to change because we're going into a new year. Get rid of any outdated information. Bring in new information. Sometimes when we're looking at our website, we decide that we just need to do a refresh, and that's going to take you a little bit more time. But at least if you get the footer and the copyright and make sure the links are working, that is key. You want to look at your sales pages, your email sequences, your opt-ins. Make sure all those things look good and are still working the way that you set them up. Then let's look at your subscriptions. Do you have anything that you need to cancel? Or do you have anything you want to add? So let's not forget, if you're paying things on a monthly basis, it's a lot easier to remember. But there's some of us out there that decide we're going to purchase things and pay them annually, which saves a boatload of money, but sometimes we forget we have them. So number one, look at your subscriptions, and are the things that you're using, are the things that you've purchased things you're actually using? Because sometimes we purchase things, but then we're not even using them, and it comes up for the annual renewal, and it's not on our radar. So it just automatically renews. We see that cost come out of our bank account, and then we're like, uh-oh, I don't even use that. So it's a good idea to create a spreadsheet and put down on your spreadsheet all the subscriptions you have, and then put your renewal dates. So you can pop those into your calendar like 30 days ahead of time. So you have plenty of time to cancel what you need to cancel, change any kind of credit card information, whatever that might be. Maybe you're getting rid of things that you don't really use, but you wanted to add something in. This is a great time of year to do that because there are so many specials that are happening in December. Processes and systems. Let's make a list of what you currently use. What out of what you're using is working really well, and what do you want to get automated for the new year? Simple list making, and you can do that at any time. Reviewing your phone system. So depending on what you use for a phone, most people are using their cell phones, or they're using a phone system that is just connected with their business. So you want to make sure it's still working. It has a message on it. Maybe the message needs to be updated. And is that system still working and meeting the needs that you have? Because your business has most likely grown over the year. So you want to think about that. I work with so many business owners that have given out their personal cell phone numbers, and then as their business grows, they're kind of sorry that they did that. So it's always a good idea to have a separate phone system if using your phone is something that you are going to be sharing out with your clients, especially because I'm sure you have boundaries set on your work days and your work hours, and you don't want your phone ringing with a client, even if they're going to leave a message, because it's just taking your focus away from your personal time or your time with your family. So those are things to think about as you grow. Like I said, a lot of these things can be done quickly and just in a few minutes, and takes just some real thoughtful reflection on what's happening. So that's the big crux of page 1 of this checklist, going back and checking over all those kind of things. The other piece of the checklist, and this is something I'm not going to go into a ton of detail about, but I am going to mention it because it's super important information. You want to set yourself up so you are on the best foot possible for the new year. And how are you going to do that? Because in December, everybody and their mother and their uncle and their grandmother are talking about, I have to make goals and I have to get myself all set up with these plans for 2020. Breathe. It's okay. Yes, you do. You definitely need to come up with at least a 30-day plan for what's going to happen in January, but you can't do any of that until you've reviewed the current year. So again, if this isn't something you're doing on a monthly or even a quarterly basis right now, add that to your 2020 list. Makes it much, much easier. Things you want to look at when you're reviewing your year. You're going to ask yourself questions. What worked well? What didn't work well? And if it didn't work well, why? Did you unexpectedly take time off? Did you have weak boundaries? Did you have too many things on your plate? You didn't have support or accountability. Maybe you just needed more information or you needed some help in some way. There's always a reason why things don't work. We have to figure out why and then move on from there. Then you decide what to keep, what to change, what to add, and don't forget to take time to celebrate all those wins that you had in 2019. Every single small step leads up to the big goals. Then you're going to start looking at 2020, and you are going to simply refocus for your new year. So part of refocusing means, yes, you're going to set goals. You're going to make sure that they are SMART goals. You're going to create your marketing plan. You're going to create your work schedule. You want to, when you're looking at your work schedule, always remember, X off those vacations and the time you want to take off before you build your work schedule. What days are you going to work? What times are you going to work? All those things are so, so important. That is the main crux of what this is. Now, there's another piece to this December year-end wrap-up checklist, and it's going to go over how to check your statistics and other things like that when you're doing the review, places to look, but don't sweat it. If this is something that you had not been doing during the other months of 2019, I don't expect you to sit down and get this all done in a matter of 10 or 15 minutes. It's not going to happen. But you can take your most recent information, or if you're newer in business, you would have that most recent information right at your fingertips. And so this checklist goes into some of those components and the analytics and the statistics and the things to look at. So you know when you set a goal for yourself of, let's say, 10 subscribers that you're starting off with back in January, and your goal is to reach 100 subscribers by December, you need to put milestones in, be checking to make sure you're reaching those goals. If you're not, figure out why. Maybe you're not even sharing that you have an email list to join. There's always a reason behind it. So if we aren't looking at the numbers, we can't just guess. We can't say, oh, back in January we had 10, but I haven't even looked at that emailed subscriber list. I have no idea who's even on it. I might not even have those 10 people anymore. Those are all pieces of this checklist to also look into. But like I said, that's the piece of it. If you don't have time, that's okay. We can get that stuff done in January. No problem. All right, so that is the overall view of what this checklist is all about. Again, the link is in here. Feel free to grab the checklist and I will email that over to you. And if you are thinking, oh my gosh, that was like way more than I ever expected to be on a checklist and there is absolutely no way I'm going to get this all done, no worries. Because I am also offering specially priced strategy sessions just for the month of December. So there's very limited spots, but usually I meet for strategy sessions 45 minutes for $149. December, I've upped it to 60 minutes, but downed the price to $99. And the reason that I did that is because it's the season for giving. I love to give back, and I understand that people have smaller budgets in December because a lot of the money that they have set aside is going to be spent on presents for their family. I totally get that. But it's the time for me to feel like I need to do something for these people that have the smaller budgets, and I want to help you be as impactful and as dedicated and as accountable as you possibly can be. I don't want you to sit there on January 2nd and think, if only I had done these things in December, if only I had thought ahead and kind of mapped out a strategy for myself. And in an hour, we will have a mapped out strategy for 90 days, or I can help you, give you a hand with all these things there are to do in December so we can lickety-split get them done in 60 minutes. That is it. Take care.